Hello and welcome to the video. This is a video all about INAV flight modes, more specifically for fixed wing, but it actually really applies to kind of all craft that you see kicking about. Now this is a model that if you haven't already been watching, do check out the series. I've built this from scratch in part of the INAV for Beginners 2026 series. It's been a lot of fun and I love it so much that I've stuck my logo on it. So this is a keeper. This is going to be one of my regular flying fleet, walk snail in the nose, flight controller and everything else. 4S and 6S capable. But the whole reason for this video is last time I actually looked at this stuff was back in 2022, where I did a full overview of the INAV flight modes, and in the intervening 4 years there have been some additions to the flight modes that are kicking around, so it's worthwhile me revisiting and updating it. So if I actually show you very quickly, this is what the whole flight modes look like. Don't worry, it's incredibly complicated. I have grouped them together in kind of the way as they appear in the INAV configurator, but I'm going to go through and kind of go through each of these. But also what I'm going to do is kind of talk very quickly at the moment about the new ones. There's a new mode called angle hold, which does exactly what it says on the tin. You can set the model to a specific attitude and it will keep it there. There's also another modifier called turn assist. That is going to give you those kind of controlled turns. Those coordinated turns are typically where you're going to use the aileron and elevator and a little bit of rudder, and INAV can add in those corrective pieces for you if that's something that you're not familiar with, you're relatively new. There's a whole new section for gimbal control. Gimbal control for things like the walk snail gimbal was added since last time I did this. There's also stuff for vertical takeoff and landing. This is something that's quite new in INAV. I'll talk a little bit more about it in a minute, but to be honest, it's one of those things that's still quite embryonic and quite simplistic, but that simplicity does mean it's easiest to set up and use. Couple of extra ones in the miscellaneous modes. There's an MSP RC override that allows you to replace the outputs with stuff coming via MSP. I'm not going to get too much into that. That's pretty sophisticated stuff. And also at the very bottom, we have a couple of extra user functions and something called multifunction. Those are things that are typically used in things like beta FPV quads with their flight controllers to turn on and off things like LED strips outside your quad. So let's jump on the bench and go through these in a little bit more detail. I'll put timecodes down below if you want to jump to a specific section. So let's start with the very basics over here on the left hand side. Let's talk about arming. There are two arming modes. The first is regular arm. In order for INAV to activate the throttle and for you to be able to use INAV in flight, it needs to be armed. Most of the time on things like Express LRS and legacy systems, you tend to use channel 5 for arming. Again, see my INAV for Beginners 2026 for a lot more detail on this. And the way it tends to work is that when channel 5 goes high, you configure it to be the arming switch inside INAV, and it also turns on all the goodness if you're using things like Express LRS. That is changeable in version 4.0, but most people I know just leave it as it is. There's also another one called pre-arm. This is something that was inherited really from Betaflight. This is the need to press another button before you arm it so that you can't accidentally catch the arming switch and have everything burst into life. I think it's very useful if you have powerful multi-rotors where as soon as you arm it, the props are going to burst into life. You definitely don't want it anywhere near people, pets or property when that happens accidentally. So you can have pre-arm and arming together on things like multi-rotors. Personally, I don't use it, but then I've been doing this a very long time and I have a very specific sequence that I use to make sure that I don't arm accidentally. Next thing then are what people usually think about when we talk about flight modes. There's acro, angle, horizon, manual, and this new one, angle hold. Now acro is the mode that the model is in when no other flight mode is selected. So if you haven't selected angle, horizon, manual or angle hold, it's going to be in acro, and you can actually see that at the bottom left hand corner, the very bottom of the screen in the modes tab. If nothing else is selected, you'll see that turn blue. Now, acro is where INAV is still going to give you full control of the aircraft, but it is going to try and use its onboard stabilization to correct for any kind of uncommanded movement. So if a little breeze hits the plane or wing, it's going to try and sort that out for you. Angle is the mode that I would recommend that you use if you are starting out. It has self-level. It also limits the pitch and roll angles. You can change what the maximum angle in both of those orientations are, but it means that you can't flip it and roll it. It's very, very stable. Horizon is a little bit of a weird one because horizon is like angle when the sticks on the radio are in the middle position. So when you're flying very carefully, then it kind of behaves like angle mode. However, if you push the sticks to the edge, it kind of comes out of angle mode and still allows you to do rolls and flips and all those kind of things. So horizon is what I use an awful lot in my flying here for the base flight mode, because if you take your hands off the sticks in horizon, it'll still self-level, and sometimes you need that if you're getting into trouble. The next one is manual mode. Now, manual mode is great. Manual mode means that this is one of the few modes that you're going to play with where all of the stabilization is turned off in INAV. So the plane or wing behaves exactly as it would do if you didn't have INAV in there at all. And when INAV has trimmed the plane and it's all flying beautifully, and it isn't too windy, I quite like manual. I like to have that direct feel and connection. There's no help from INAV if it gets hit by a gust of wind. There's no help from INAV in terms of self-level, but manual mode is there when you want to be in full control, and all INAV's going to do is add the expo that you've asked it to and do things like the mixing from the channels on the radio into the VTOL elevator or whatever you've got set up. The new one is called angle hold, that kind of does what it says on the tin. You can set the model to a specific angle and INAV will maintain it. There are a number of navigation modes then that you get when you add a GPS into the model. If you don't have a GPS attached, these aren't going to appear. There's nav course hold. When that's turned on, INAV will keep the model flying in that specific direction. There's something called INAV cruise. That's where INAV is going to not only keep it pointing in the same direction, but also manage its height and things as well. There's also INAV position hold. If you're in a multi-rotor, that's going to basically park it in the sky in 3D space. If it's something like a wing or plane, it's going to circle around the point at which you initiated that mode, basically like just parking it. I occasionally use this if I'm handing over a plane or something to somebody that's learned to fly. It's just a way to kind of keep it in the air flying while you do goggles and radios and other pieces. Nav return to home. This is a fab mode. This is one of the three that I have set up on my model all the time. This will fly it back to you in INAV land for forever. It has flown a multi-rotor back to you. It will hover over the home position and then it will gradually descend, land and disarm. With a fixed wing, you can have it come home and circle the home location. You can have it come home and circle the home location and descend gradually until it eventually hits the ground. Or you can also actually set it up to do landing as well. You have nav waypoints, which is the ability to upload a series of waypoints into INAV and get INAV to fly them autonomously. This used to be called auto mode back in the day, but it's been nav waypoint for forever. And there's also GCS nav, where if you want to control the vehicle from some kind of ground station, that's what the GCS stands for, ground station, then you can set that up so that the commands coming in are going to be the ones that the INAV flight controller is going to listen to. Those are the main flight modes. Everything else is kind of modifiers to how they work and also adding additional specific things for additional specific hardware or setups that you might have. So the next ones we'll talk about then are these modifiers. So the first one is nav alt hold. So this is where you are telling the model to maintain its altitude. And alt hold is one of those things that in the very old days you would have to, if you turned on nav cruise, you turned on nav alt hold as well. With modern INAV, you do not need to do that. Just by turning on nav cruise, that also manages the height, kind of turns this on as well. The next one then is heading hold, where again that's going to keep it on a specific heading that you have set as the pilot. The soaring, which is really there for things like gliders, it's not super complicated in here. In things like Ardu Pilot, where if you put that into some kind of soaring model or glider, it will actually hunt for thermals and maintain its position within a thermal to get altitude and things like that. That's not what this is about. Then there's also something called turn assist. Just mentioned it in the introduction, but turn assist is one of those things where if you have it turned on, it will do those coordinated turns for you. So you can have any of these flight modes turned on, and you can then select any of these additional things that you want. So it might be that you want horizon mode and you also want something like heading hold turned on at the same time, or you might be flying in horizon mode and want turn assist turned on. So as you move around the sky, INAV is going to be doing all that coordinated turn stuff for you. The next ones then are ones specific for specific things. We've got quite a few of these to go through. There's obviously the fixed wing one, which is really relevant for this series that I've just done. There's auto tune, which is what you use to auto tune the model. Surprise, surprise, you turn it on, you do a series of movements, and from those movements, INAV will hone in on the best PID and PIF settings. There's something called servo auto trim. That's going to trim the servos for manual and acro flight. By default, this isn't turned on, so I actually turn on continuously trim servos in configurator. So this is not available as a mode on my models because it's just turned on 100% of the time. We also have auto level trim. This is that trim between the attitude of the model as it's sat on the bench, and that usually a slightly nose up attitude at cruise throttle to maintain its altitude. It's usually anything from about 2 to 6 degrees for most models. I set it usually for 3 or 4 degrees for the maiden flight, and then if you watch my maiden flight videos, you'll see me use this to actually set that little offset inside INAV, the fixed wing pitch level trim setting, so that the model flies straight and level. We also then have nav launch. Love this. Auto launch is one of my favorite things about INAV. Again, I have this permanently enabled, so this doesn't appear in the modes tab, but this is where you can just throw the model and it will climb gracefully into the sky, and it really de-risks all of those times when you're going to throw a model at the field. INAV will do all the hard work for you. And there's also the ability to change the loiter. Then we have gimbal. Again, if you want to go into lots of detail with these other things, I'm covering some of this at quite a high level because it's aimed at beginners, but you can go and do a quick Google search for INAV loiter change mode and you'll find lots of information on what it actually does and how it works. The next one then is stuff specifically for gimbal. Again, I don't use a lot of gimbals, and I guess it's one of those things that unless you're playing with it, you're not going to bump into it, but you have the ability to change the level tilt, the level roll, and also center the gimbal as well by selecting specific modes within INAV. The next row are pretty standard stuff. A lot of this has been here for a long time. You have OSD modes where you can turn the OSD off if you're flying FPV, or you can change between the different screens. You can set up multiple on-screen display layouts and flick between them. Lots of people will have a regular one for flying and maybe another one that shows the P, I, and D settings during a tune. There's ones for FPV camera, one called camera stabilization that will try and keep the camera level if you connect it to something like a little servo. They also have different camera control functionalities as well. These tend to be specific for the camera that you are using. Then we have VTOL. VTOL is one of those things that's been introduced since the last time I did this 4 years ago. Again, as I mentioned in the introduction, VTOL is very basic at the moment within INAV, but it's getting better all the time. However, that basic setup does mean that it's easier to configure and, in theory, easier to troubleshoot too. And this, you have the ability to select the second mix profile. So typically you'd have one profile set up for your fixed wing flight. You'd have another profile set up for the multi-rotor part of your VTOL flight. And then you also have another one, which is the mixer transition, which is the halfway house that you use to try and change between the main profile and the second profile. Again, it's a little bit clunky, but I love the fact that INAV are working on this. And these are the miscellaneous modes. And these are things like the beeper, where if you flick that mode, the beeper is going to make a noise. That can be very handy to find it if it's stuck in the top of a tree, to mute the beeper, to reset the home location, to change things with the waypoint planning stuff, change the mission, because you can have multiple missions uploaded at once, turn on and off the black box, initiate a failsafe to turn to home, MSP radio control override. If you are sending MSP commands, you can have those commands override the radio control pieces in the model. There's the ability to have a kill switch. User 1, 2, 3, and 4 and multifunction tend to be things that are there so that vendor specific functions on a flight controller can be turned on and off. Things like that beta FPV quad LED control that I mentioned in the introduction. But those, as of the recording, are kind of the main things that you're going to bump into. Which one of these do I actually use in anger on my models? These. Not very many at all. I have an arming switch. I have a 3-position switch for flights, which is going to be horizon, manual, and typically return to home. I'll have 2 additional switches set, one for auto tune, one for auto level trim, and I'll use those on the maiden flight. And then I'll use auto tune probably for the second flight just to get it all tuned in. Servo auto trim and nav launch or auto launch are always enabled, and everything else I never go anywhere near. So don't be overwhelmed by this stuff. It is not as complicated as it looks. And I would recommend when you're starting out, keep it simple. It's easy to get into trouble when you try and do too much or try and second guess what INAV is up to. So hopefully now, after watching that, the whole INAV mode thing makes an awful lot more sense. As I've just covered, personally, I use a very, very small fraction of these to actually fly my planes, so don't be overwhelmed. But when you get further into your adventures with INAV, hopefully you now know what a lot of these other things are in case you need them. Thank you for watching my video. Check out the playlist, and adding Painless 360 to your search terms will help you find my content. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. You can support the time I spend here answering questions and helping others by using the links in the video description.